All right, yo, let's get it started. Welcome to the show.
This is the awakening of chastity, justice, action, shalom, correction, direction, yearning for the ultimate lifestyle.
Life measures, triple beam scales, I see the shell toes and black leather. Dark matter, singing hymns of ancient slaves. Strange fruit swinging like elephant trunks. The hell of they don't. King Melanin, I keep telling them. Swole lips like Bill Bellamy. Cancer like celebrities. Stripped of a Nephilim. I let this track carry me. Feel lightweight like I carry on. Hot sauce. You sweet like funnel cakes. Don't shake. Got more moves than a centipede on roller skates. I'm the one they looking for. The one on the top. The one that stop. The one they feel, boy. You ain't saying nothing. Back to titty sucking. Hey. What up, man? What's going on, family? Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Good evening. Good morning, wherever you at. I am your host, Doshay the Legend, the God. So it's like, man, it's been a lot been going on in the news. A lot of things is moving. A lot of things is grooving. But man, I try to tell y'all, keep on telling you, we got next. I've been, and this what I want to talk about. It came across my desk, man, probably like a year ago, and it just resurfaced back up. And what I'm about to show you is what the United Nations uh, has prepared for the indigenous people. So let's see here. Those who don't know, let's see what the United Nations. The United Nations make up. I know China is one of them. So who makes up the United Nations? Let's see here. United Nations. So just give you a grasp of who is a part of the United Nations. So it's supposedly be 7 countries. So we got China, we got France, we got Russia, United Kingdom, Great Britain, Northern Ireland, and United States of America, which is the corporation as we know. So somehow, China and Russia working together. United Kingdom, Great Britain, and Northern Ireland. Great Britain, which is the Queen, that's a whole nother study. Uh, we also have India. Let's see here. United Nations is an international organization whose stated purpose are to maintain international peace and security, develop friendly relations among nations, achieve international cooperation, and serve as a center for harmonizing the actions of nations. As is the world's largest international organization, founded October 24th, 1945 in San Francisco, California. Oh, they founded this in California, San Francisco. Isn't that where all the LGBTQI double P people started? San Francisco. I think it is. So the founders are United States, United Kingdom, India, France, Brazil. Let's see here. Oh, there's a lot of them. Dang. Wow, there's a lot of them. Hold on, let me show this. What is it? Let me see here. Here. It's a lot of them. So we do have. It is a lot of them. So it's United Kingdom, United States, India, France, Brazil, Soviet Union, Iran. So Soviet Union was once part of Russia, and it broke off. So is Russia still? They got Russia on here again or no? What was it? Dang, there's a lot of them. Yugoslavia, Paraguay, Uruguay, Luxembourg, Honduras, Nicaragua, Bolivia, Guatemala, Costa Rica, Panama, Liberia, El Salvador, Cuba, Norway, Lebanon, Colombia, Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia? Mm, boy, them boys are suspect as hell. Canada, Australia, Mexico, Iran, France, Turkey. Hmm, those are the founders. That's weird. Okay, so now we get it. That's those are the founders. So, anyways, um, I want you guys to pay attention to something that I had. Just trying to get you an overview of who are the United Nations, and I wanted to show you this declaration they had put out in 2007. Now, this came out in 2007. Think about that. Let's see here. Let me find it for you. So I want you to look at this declaration. Look at that declaration. It says United Nations Declaration on the Right of Indigenous People. This right here, United Nations. So basically, if you don't feel like the whole trick was to make you think that you are not indigenous to this land. Once they played that trick, everybody did not come on a boat. The slave story is true, but everybody did not come on a boat. Okay, this right here is the United Nations Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous People. Now, notice they use the word people and not persons. So that's a whole nother understanding. Once you start going down the rabbit hole, I'm talking to the new beginners, people who really are not sure about the wordplay that they use. They speak Latin, they use English, they speak Mexically when they're talking, and they're actually doing spells. So a lot of times they're saying things you're not really understand what they're saying. Like bench in Latin is actually bank. The judge sits on the bench. The judge sits on the bank. You're going in there actually doing business. This is the reason why the United States is considered a corporation. It's not. It's no longer. It's not a country at all. So I want to read some of these things, and you guys can look this up yourself. Because think about this: was um, if this was out and you guys had this out when they was pushing, if you had this understanding, by the time when I read this, when I go through, I'm just gonna skim through it. I'm not gonna go through everything. I just want you to know that this is out here. It's been out here, and obviously it didn't make the news. So if this was out here and people knew about this, once you start reading it, you will know you'll see like This when they started doing the jabby jabs, this would have canceled all that out. They would no way in shape form be able to fulfill that out on the indigenous people. That's if you yourself understand who you are. If you still around here thinking like, oh, those are God's chosen people over there, and oh, I'm not indigenous. We come from Africa. If you on that mindset, then this is not gonna work for you. This is not what you. Actually, I'm not even talking to you. I'm talking to the ones who understand that they are indigenous to this land. I'm talking to ones that understand that understand. Go find out what's the difference between a people and a person. Them are the ones I'm talking to. But I'm actually talking to you as well because this is something that you need to learn. The ones who know the difference between a people and a person understand clearly what I'm saying. So let me read some of this stuff here. Let's see here. Let me bring it up, son. So I'm just gonna skim through some of it. I'm not gonna go through all of it. So what you can basically do, um, you can actually, look it up. Just Google United Nations Declarations of the Rights of Indigenous People and go through all this stuff yourself. I'm gonna skim through it just to show you that once you stand up in your righteous place and take your righteous place, then this will totally apply to you. This goes back to and I'm do your homework. I want you to listen to the song that calls. I forgot how it goes. It goes something like the lion sleeps tonight in the jungle, the mighty jungle. The lion sleeps tonight. So you are that lion that sleep. That is you. They're talking about you. They made a whole song for you. You know. So long as you asleep, they celebrate. But that sleep is totally over. They know it's over. This is why I'm here speaking like this. This is why I here. That's why the movement is here. Chastity is that part of that movement, bringing the justice, bringing action, bringing peace, the correction and direction and yearning for the ultimate lifestyle. And this is part of it. And you are part of it. And we all one big family. No matter what color you are, uh, righteous, good, and just is what we're going for. So let me read this for you guys here. Hold on for a second. Let me bring it up. I'm just gonna skim through some of it. Let me see what I can bring in. How does that look on that page? Oh, look at that. Let's see here. I just want to put in enough, read enough to let you know that how much the United Nations has put into in consideration of your rights, of who you are. For they're basically stating, don't mess with these people. Whatever they want to do, let them do it as far as their culture, their language, whatever it is. So I'm just going to read enough until you can understand this is what it's actually saying. So let's go here. United Nations Declaration on Rights of Indigenous People, guided by the purpose and the principles of the Charter of United Nations in good faith in the fulfillment of the obligations assumed by a state in accordance with the Charter, affirming that the indigenous people are equal to all other peoples while recognizing the right of all peoples to be different, to consider themselves different, and to be respected as such. Think about the now. I want when I'm reading this. Think about what they're telling you to do, what you got to do. Think about your land when they want to come and get it. Think about all this stuff when I'm reading this. You got to do this. You got to take this. Think about it now. Affirming also that all people contribute to the diversity and richness of civilization and cultures, which constitute the common heritage of humankind. Further, affirming further that all doctrines, policies, and practices based on advocating superiority of peoples or individuals on the basis of national origin or racial, religious, ethnic, or cultural differences are racist, scientifically false, legally invalid, morally condemnable, and socially unjust. So basically, stating that people who practice advocating superiority over other people, we don't practice superiority. We definitely have our own culture, language, and creator, and that's basically is the racists who say, "Oh, we're better than them. Or we they shouldn't do this. We do this." No, that's socially and condemnably unjust. This is the United Nations talking now, reaffirming that the indigenous peoples in the exercise of their rights should be free from discrimination of any kind. Concerned that have suffered, indigenous people have suffered from historic injustice as a result of inter alia, their colonization and dispositions of their lands, territories, and resources, thus preventing them from exercising, in particular, their right to development in accordance with their own needs and interests. That's the concern. Recognizing the urgent need to respect and promote the inherent rights of indigenous peoples, which derive from their political, economic, and social structures, and from their cultures, spiritual traditions, histories, and philosophies, especially their rights to their lands, territories, and resources. You have to understand that you got to get out the mindset and thinking that we all were slaves, and that's what they're betting on. When as soon as they got you where you think that we were all slaves and there's no way possible that you have right to this land over here, then this will go over your head. This will not apply to you. They'll be able to do anything they want to you, pretty much. Um, Recognizing also the urgent need to respect and promote the rights of indigenous people affirmed in treaties, agreements, and other constructive arrangements with states. Welcoming the fact that indigenous peoples are organizing themselves for political, economic, social, and cultural enhancement in order to bring to an end all forms of discrimination and oppression wherever they occur. So basically is we're setting ourselves up. We need to they already know we need to set up our own political, our own economic, our own social, our own schools, our own hospital, our own banks. But we know when we do that, we know they coming. So we about to fix that too. So, anyways, convinced that control by indigenous people are overdevelopments, that control by indigenous peoples over developments affected them and their lands, territories, and resources will enable them to maintain and strengthen their institutions, cultures, and traditions and promote their development in accordance with their aspirations and needs. Recognizing that respect for indigenous knowledge, cultures, and traditional practices contributes to sustainable and equitable development and proper management of the environment, emphasizing contribution to the demilitarizations of lands and territories of indigenous people to peace, economic, and social progress and development, understanding and friendly relations among nations and people of the world, recognizing in particular the right of indigenous families and communities to retain shared responsibilities for the upbringing, training, education, and well being of their children, consistent with the rights of the child. So, recognize in particular the rights of indigenous families and communities to retain shared responsibility for the upbringing, training, education, and well-being of their child. Basically, man, raise your children. Don't let us raise them because we're gonna raise them to be devils and hell cats and and turn them out. And by the time they go come back to your house, they ain't gonna know if they're gonna be a boy, girl, or an ant. So this is telling you in particular the right of the indigenous families and communities to retain shared responsibility for their upbringing, training, education, and well being of their children. Considering that the rights affirmed in treaties, agreements, and other constructive arrangements between states and indigenous people are in some situations matter and international concern, interest, responsibility, and character. Considering also that treaties, agreements, and other constructive agreements and the relationship they represent are the basis for a strengthened partnership between indigenous peoples and states. So now we got indigenous peoples and states. So we got those are three different entities. So we got peoples who are partly not of they're not indigenous, but they're not part of the state. We got indigenous who are not people, nor are they part of the state. Then we got the state who's not indigenous, nor are they people. You know, when you're dealing with the state, you're dealing with strictly uh, corporations. So it's just trying to make a harmonious balance between them. So this thing goes on. Let me scroll all the way down. Let me see what else I can catch in. Check this out. Article 14. Indigenous peoples have the right, see they're using indigenous people, have the right to establish and control their educational system and institution, providing education in their own languages in a manner appropriate to their culture, methods of teachings and learning. How many do you know and understand that at one point in time they would kill us, the indigenous people, if we was caught speaking Hebrew? If we spoke in our ancient tongue, which is Hebrew, they will actually, you would be killed. So this is saying indigenous people have the right to establish and control their education systems and institutions providing education in their own languages, in our own language. That's indigenous. Number two, indigenous individuals, particularly children, have the right to all levels and forms of education of the state without discrimination. I don't know why you want to send them to them. Who knows? But anyways, the state shall, in conjunction with indigenous peoples, take effective measures in order for indigenous individuals, particularly children, including those living outside of their communities, to have access, when possible, to education in their own culture and provided in their own language. So they basically just like, man, we gonna, but here's the thing about it is we was lost of our land because we sitting around on our land, we don't even know it, lost of our language, lost of our culture, you know. Some people think culture is uh black. Black black is black black is not a culture. You know what I'm saying? When you're dealing with uh, terms like that, that term black white was only set up for business, corporate, fictitious use in the corporation because to be black, you have to be able to speak blackese. Your culture has to be black. Your land, you have to associate with a land. You have to have a flag in order to be recognized on the United Nations. As you've seen all those flags there. So it's not as simple as it looks, but we make it difficult. But they try to make it difficult, I should say, but it's real simple. Let me correct myself. It is real simple. They make it difficult. It's simple for us to learn our own language. It's simple for us to have our own land. It's simple for us to teach our own children. It's all simple. Let's go down. Let's see here. Let's go there. Article 16. Indigenous peoples have the right to establish their own media in their own languages and to have access to all forms of non indigenous media without discrimination. So basically saying is like we can deal with these people without coming into a contract with them without being discriminated against. Uh, let's go number two. States shall have effective measures to ensure that state-owned media duly reflect the indigenous culture diversity. States without prejudice to ensuring full freedom of expression should encourage privately owned media to adequately reflect indigenous culture diversity. The sad part about it is we don't know our culture. We don't know our language. We've been totally cut off. If I was to speak in that ancient language, you wouldn't understand what I'm saying. And even the language that I speak is a modern language of it. The closest we get is Ibri. The the words have changed, the letters have changed. So we so far from our true self. But all our parts is coming back together, slowly coming back together. This was done in 2007. This was here for you to use. This is what you could have used when they said, "Oh, we're not using religious, uh, we're not taking on religious things." You could have said, "Put it like this: Well, I'm indigenous. How you know I'm indigenous? My people was born here, raised here. My people come from here. Oh, you come from Africa? No, not all of us come from Africa." Okay, let's go in 21. Article 21. Indigenous peoples have the right, without discrimination, to the improvement of their economic and social conditions, including inter alia in the areas of